Hi, I'm Stacey Carneludi, international best-selling author and founder of High Powered Success Academy. I want to welcome you to Impact and Income Without Sacrificing Intimacy, how to enjoy 6 to 7 figure success without compromising what matters most. And first of all, thank you for joining me. I know the value of your time. So let's get right into this juicy content. On this webinar, I will unveil 7 steps to overcoming the intimacy blocks keeping you from enjoying the success you've already achieved. I realize that success looks different on everyone, but really when you get down to the business of life, a lack of intimacy will block every bit of profit that you're wired for, which means that no matter how many goals you crush or dreams that you achieve without a deeper connection and a higher life, something will always feel like it's missing. I'll never forget a study years ago that said that our drive for connection is greater than our drive for food. We truly are relational beings designed for interdependence and collaboration and partnership. And when we're more committed to division and disconnect than we are to unity and connection, we really are miserable. And that sounds weird to think that we are committed to disconnect, but when we're not pursuing connection, we really are, sabotaging it, I should say. On this webinar, you are going to learn a lot of things. You're going to take away a lot of information, but the stuff that's going to change your life is the revelation. So, I always seek to inspire you and to ignite your life. So I encourage you to take notes, but listen to the voice within the voice. You are going to learn 3 sexy words to start turning your marriage around today, and you're going to learn a couple mental shifts needed to get your health and mojo back, and the keys to turning pressure and stress into power and support. This webinar is for you if you're a CEO or a top earner, achiever, or influencer. If you're feeling stuck and trapped by the pressure to perform, if you're not showing up for those you love, if you've been diagnosed with a stress-related health issue, or you need the support of a trusted advisor and confidant. This webinar is not for you if you're fine. I have that capitalized because fine is like a 4-letter F word. It literally just keeps you in places of compromise and complacency that you're going to regret sooner or later. So this webinar is not for you if you have no desire to up-level your life. But if you find yourself saying, I'm fine, you might want to go a little bit deeper and get honest about what that really means. This webinar is not for you if you're unwilling to take responsibility for the results you're producing in your life, and it's not for you if you already know this stuff. You've probably heard it said it's not the things we do in life that we regret, it's the things that we don't do when given the opportunity. So if you know you are supposed to be here, I encourage you to sit back and enjoy. Years ago, I don't like to spend a lot of time on my story, but just for the sake of letting you know that I get you, I want to share a little bit. Years ago, I was attempting to get all my ducks in a row, you know how we do. I realized finally that work-life balance was not for me, and I decided that it's all life, and no one but me can create the experience that I have here. So this is when I decided to become the CEO of my life instead of my business, and I kind of set out for mastery instead of management. I don't know where you are today, but if you're all about compartmentalizing, I'm very good at that, like really focusing in on one thing and, managing different parts of my life. But the truth is we are integrated beings and we are creating an experience here that we really need to, like. So my old way of doing life was to give up me to be loved by you. I've always loved my work in both education and in the fitness industry. I developed curriculum. I trained teachers, created award-winning programs. I did exercise videos for Jane Fonda and Adidas. And I did a lot of work, and I love my work. I always have, like you. And many achievers and influencers, we love what we do. But what happens is that we naturally kind of put ourselves aside, and we tend to lose our voice after a while. If we get to this place of like an emptiness and a longing for something more, usually this is what happens, is that we need to get connected again to our values and our inspiration. So I would cycle through happy, sad, confused, mad. I didn't know how to handle all of that emotion, how to express it, how to identify what was going on. And so I would just run from it and try to numb through, alcohol and toxic relationships and over exercising and under eating. And we all have our many vices, but Meanwhile, I would end up feeling yucky. The next day, I definitely was not feeling victory, and so I would punish myself in a variety of ways that would sabotage my success. I didn't know what to do with the emotion. Was the bottom line. And so I made a decision after getting in a car accident, ending up in jail one night. As I was kind of sobering up at about 3 a.m., I realized I was in a place I never, ever thought I would ever be. So that was kind of my turning point, and I made a decision to make a plan, get support, and take action in my life. Um, so since then, I, launched a website and started a fitness studio. I became an international best-selling author, and I started a lucrative coaching business, and I'm speaking now. And all of that is great, but the thing that I wanted to share with you, and the reason why I'm even talking about this right now, is that the success part of it is that I'm still married, and that's a miracle right there, right? 23 years of marriage. My body is still serving me well, and I have 3 happy, healthy kids. So, Hugo and I are celebrating 23 years together of sobriety and marriage. Every choice that we make, I'm learning, is a life choice, period. And when I learned to, master, look at this whole big life as a symphony, as an orchestra, as, something that was just way bigger than the little pieces. I began to live with no compromise, and every choice became so real to me and so powerful. And so it helped me to stay aligned with the things that really, really matter the most. And so that's what I want to share with you today. You're here because your experience might not be matching your expectation. No doubt you've pursued a lot of great things and achieved many goals in your life, but my guess is that there's like a little incongruency here, and we need there to be harmony. We need there to be congruency. We need the inside of our life and the outside of our lives to match in order to really feel powerful and happy in this life. And because you're not a conformist, that's what I know about you. Because you're here, you're not okay living a life of compromise or complacency, and I applaud you for that. So let's talk about a few things that keep us from the intimacy that we're wired for. Pressure and stress are 2 of them, and we can literally take both of those things and turn them into power and support. So let's talk about that. The pressure to perform is keeping you stuck, preoccupied with work, and feeling trapped. It's an external force. And what it does is it moves whatever's on the inside to the outside. It's like squeezing a lemon or crushing a grape. And I love Einstein. Albert Einstein, just one of my heroes. He said that adversity introduces a man to himself. And I love that. So the first step in turning pressure to power is to look at the pressure as adversity that's trying to introduce you to yourself, right? So you can begin to ask yourself a few questions. At the end of this webinar, you're going to have an opportunity to schedule a call with us where we can kind of go in a little bit deeper with you about what's going on in your life. But I'm just going to go through these with you right now. You already know that life is happening for you and not to you. That's the first thing is to get that straight and ask yourself, how is this pressure, knowing that everything's happening for me, how is this pressure moving me toward my ultimate destination? And secondly, what am I afraid of? If you're experiencing a lot of inner conflict, you probably lost a little power and you're fearing something. So confront that. What is it that I'm afraid of? And the third question is to ask yourself if it's true. The fear is, most of the time, it's just an illusion. It's something that we make up to keep us from courageously stepping out and overcoming. So ask yourself those 3 questions. That's the first step in turning the pressure into power. Secondly is to realize that all conflict is self-conflict. So if you're feeling powerless, and it's, that's the problem, is that you are designed and wired for power, not powerlessness. The truth is that you have great strength and power and confidence and impact and joy. These are the things that you are designed and destined for. So anything that causes you to step out of that place is going to cause you to feel out of whack and off balance and weak. So I always use truth over tactics. That is my commitment to you, because it's the only path to freedom. All truth is all conflict is self-conflict. This is an empowering statement. So you don't have a problem with other people. You don't have a problem with the situation. You have a problem with you. It's you that you need to connect with. And it's you that's going to do something different in order to make a difference in your life and your situation. So don't abandon your soul. Who do you say that you are? So when the business of life squeezes you, what's coming out? Anything less than those 5 things that we just talked about, anything less than strength and power and confidence and joy, anything less than love, these things are not who you really, really are. So they're going to cause you to shrink on the inside and doubt yourself in every area of life. So in the end, you end up living from fear instead of faith. And as a result, you forfeit the deep connection and the meaningful impact and intimacy that you really are here to know. Second question, why are you here? Why are you on this webinar? Why are you here at this moment in this space? What is the urgency? What's going on? What are you created for that you're not experiencing? I believe that you're not okay with the status quo and you're committed to excellence and you know that there's more in this life for you and you're not willing to not get it. And I love that. So bravo, bravo, bravo. Rising up to the challenge to overcome the fear and to connect with a greater good is the way of the warrior and the champion, and that's who you are. What do you have? There's a couple ways to answer this question. You can ask yourself, what gifts and talents and skills and strengths do I have that are so valuable in the world? Or you can go about it from the other side and say, what resources do I have to overcome the pressure or the guilt that I'm up against? A lot of times when you're under a lot of pressure, you're preoccupied with work and you're not showing up for the people that you really love. And that can, start to open the door to guilt and things that are also sabotaging. So, you go back to these big questions. Who are you? Why are you here? What do you have? And eventually you're going to turn all of that pressure into great, great power. I promised to give you a few things on this webinar to add to your intimacy arsenal. So here's the first one, those 3 powerfully sexy words that you can begin saying to your spouse or your partner daily in order to start turning things around. This primary relationship right here, if you are in a committed relationship, this is where it all starts. This one relationship affects every single thing in your life. So it's a great place to start. So ask your partner if they're willing to participate. Even if you don't feel this from your heart, you don't have to start out in a really sincere place. You can literally just put these words out there and see what starts to happen. Men, you're going to say, I got this. Ladies, you're going to say, I trust you. In today's world, we are seeing the reverse happen. The women are saying, I got this, and the men are saying, I trust you. And it sounds supportive and sweet, but the truth is, in this committed relationship, when the woman steps out of her feminine energy and the man steps out of his masculine energy, we are just not in our truest, most authentic power. And so we just don't make the impact that we really could be making in each other's lives and in the world. So this is a great place to start. And number 2, there's another little secret, is to just send them a daily text. Let that other person know how much you love, honor, respect, or appreciate them being in your life. Very, very powerful ways to start turning that relationship around. Lori is a client of mine that was a very savvy businesswoman, had no problem, being really confident and courageous and bold in her business, but she would come home and just feel very started dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression. And the bottom line was that she felt very insecure and powerless in her home. So we began to ask these big questions. Who are you? Why are you here? What do you have? And we began to help her connect deeply. And she began to rise up like never before. And her new way is the way of freedom and life and confidence. And her relationships are better than ever. And her life's awesome. It's just like these smiles that you see right here are sincere. She's living a great life. 25 years married, has a great relationship with her 18-year-old daughter and her 13-year-old son. So that's been amazing. Secondly, stress. It's killing you. You don't even know it's in your life. You might not even know it's in your life unless you get a diagnosis from a doctor. I remember way back when I went to the doctor 3 times within a year for just little symptoms like skin and just little things that they weren't a huge deal, but every one of them, the doctor said stress was the cause of my symptoms. And I just said, what are you talking about? "Oh, I don't even have any stress." I didn't realize that I was even under stress. So don't wait, for the doctor to tell you that you have stress in your life. Begin to recognize it, get honest, and know that it's blocking intimacy. In your life, as well as risking, your health. According to the National Institute of Health, chronic emotional stress can negatively affect every major organ system in the body. So it, is a contributor to cancer and heart disease and even suicide and cirrhosis of the liver, irritable bowel syndrome, high blood pressure, acid reflux, anxiety, weakening immune system. I could just go on and on. Headaches, obesity. In truth, it's this inner conflict that results from neglecting personal responsibilities. That's what stress is. You alone are responsible for your lifestyle habits, the rituals that you cultivate, and the attitude that you do life with. These are yours alone. The energy that you carry is yours alone. And so it's not what happens to us that affects us. It's the thoughts and the meanings and, the things that we attach to the stuff that's happening to us that really matter and make the biggest difference in our life. So that external pressure is there. What are you doing to turn it into power so that you don't end up in this place of just radical health compromising stress? You get a diagnosis and now you have a choice, right? You're always left with two options. Am I going to change what I'm doing and move toward greater health and freedom and intimacy and connection and higher life? Or am I going to continue what I'm doing and move toward greater limitation? And I use greater in both of those because we live in an abundant universe. So whatever you choose, you're going to get more of that. As I mentioned with Lori, the secret to her lasting change and transformation was that she made a perspective shift and she resolved to do whatever it took to get the change in her life. So she was committed to the work. So the first two things that need to happen in order to turn stress into support and synergistic relationships is to, number one, choose the change. And number two is to enter into a committed relationship that provides the insight, the impartation, and the inspiration that you need to make the change that you want. There's two mental shifts that I talked about that you need in order to get your health and mojo back. And the first is to know that you alone own the power to choose whatever experience you want to have here. Nobody can choose that for you. And the second thing is to understand the power of synergy, meaning that the combined effect of the whole is exponentially greater than the sum of its parts. So, when two people come together that are moving toward the same goal and they've got the same inspiration, it is amazing what can happen. One person can put 1,000 to flight, it says in the Bible. Two can put 10,000 to flight. So two people coming together with the same heart and mind can just do incredible things. So the next thing that happens, you might taste a little bit of change and get a little bit of relief or a quick fix, but then you have to ask yourself if you want that change to last or not, because that might sound obvious, but the commitment is real. And in order for you to stay in that place of continual mind renewal, and in order to keep your energy right and your actions moving toward your desired destination of intimacy and deeper connection and glorious impact, you're going to have to commit to people, to places, to things that are going to keep that inner stance of you strong. You need to be reminded who you are, why you're here, and what you have. And that is what mastery is about. Mastery is the accumulation of conscious or on purpose decision making, living at a heightened level of awareness with a more, Christ consciousness, making the way. You always have two choices in this life. This is the deal. And it's like life isn't the hard part. It's all the decision making that happens. If you give yourself 50 choices to make every day, you're going to be exhausted by the end of the week and you're going to be looking forward to the weekend. And I can honestly tell you that my days are every day is awesome. It doesn't have to be like Friday's way better than Monday. Monday is a beautiful day. So life isn't the hard part. Decision making is the hard part. That means if you can make your decisions ahead of time, you're going to just make life so much lighter and happier. In truth, only two choices exist, yes or no. Life or death. limitation or freedom, excuses or results, love or fear, however you like to say it. When I began to choose this new path for my life, love or fear were my choices. Every decision that I made came down to those two choices. Love is going to lead me to a limitless place of freedom and power. Fear is going to lead me to a limited place of darkness and destruction. So I began to choose from those two places. So pick your pair. What's it going to be for you? Decide in advance what you're going to be saying yes to, and then all the no's can take care of themselves, and you're going to begin to live a stress-free, inspired life. It really is that simple. Not always easy, but definitely simple. So you got to figure out what you're going to say yes to. What do you really, really, really want? I always say really, really. It's that second really that's like the big one. What do you value? And if you don't know what you value right now, look at where your money's going, right? What are you placing value upon? What are you investing in? What are you paying for? Those are the things that you're valuing right now. So when you get honest about where your money's going, that could be pretty powerful, because you're going to begin to see like, wow, I'm investing in things that I really don't think are that important. And you can change that. So Bruce Bond said it best: the wrong actions start with pleasure and end with pain. You might be spending money on things that are just giving you a quick fix all the time, but in the end, they're really not giving you that certainty and that intimacy and that deep connection and high life that you're longing for. The right actions will start with sacrifice and end with victory. And I'm not about living, with struggle and sacrifice as a martyr. That's not what this is about. It's about connecting with a deeper desire that might be unfamiliar. And because it's unfamiliar, it's going to be a little uncomfortable to start doing things in a different way. That's it. But after a few days, a few weeks, a few months, you'll have new habits established that are going to profit every area of your life. So don't wait for the doctor to write your prescription for you. You write it today. You put health and well-being and personal growth at the top of your list. You put intimacy and impact and income at the top of your list, and you write your prescription. You decide what is valuable in your life. Who are you? And you connect to the source of your inspiration and your supply, and you're going to begin to see yourself rock this life. I love that slide. Just sit down and have a conversation with yourself right there. 5% achieve success, 95% default to failure. I read this in Jeff Olson's book, The Slight Edge, years and years ago, and I just thought it was crazy. Like, what's the difference? Like, why 95% fail? I don't want that. I want to be the 5%. So what are they doing that the 95% are not doing? And really the bottom line is that the 5% just woke up. They literally woke up. They stepped into a life of higher levels of consciousness because they became very aware of what was going on in their thinking and in their life, and the results that they were producing. They were courageous enough to look honestly at what was going on, and that's it. When you start to do that, it becomes effortless after a while, and you begin to live at such a higher level that you would never want to turn back to that lower life. So this is, this is the key right here to getting stress out. I don't believe in managing stress. I really believe in eliminating it. So here's a few ways that you can do that as well. Daily exercise. I always say, move your body, move your life. You're an integrated being. And so your emotions, all that emotion that I was talking about earlier, if you don't feel it, it's energy in your body that was made to move. And if you don't move it out of your body, it'll stay in your body and cause all kinds of dis-ease, right? Distress, dysfunction, all kinds of disses. Exercise gets you back into your right mind, where you can make conscious, wise decisions that profit every area of your life. Exercise also balances your hormones, releases toxins, heightens your awareness, and brings your energy up so that you live from a higher level of frequency, a higher frequency, I should say. It improves your metabolism, your digestion, muscular strength, endurance, coordination, agility, range of motion, mobility, all of it. I could go on and on for days. I've been in the fitness industry for 38 years, and I am passionate about daily exercise. It will rock your life more than anything else. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. So if you have not been exercising, it's going to be a little bit hard to start. But this is where discipline comes in. You're going to make yourself do this. You're going to stir up your desire to work out by, reading, some motivational things, looking at the right pictures, remembering how good you used to feel or you want to feel. Reminding yourself of the risk of not exercising, whatever it takes to stir up your desire, just do it. Do it. So important. Secondly, prayer and meditation. And this will connect you to your spirit. You are a spirit, soul, body. You're a spirit that's having a human experience. And if you don't keep your spiritual practice going, you will lose that spiritual connection. And that's what aligns you with peace and power and the ability to be able to walk a congruent or live out a congruent life of harmony. The purpose of power is so radical. I wrote a book called Egypt to Canaan, and I go into great depth about praying to get results, not just in terms of a conversation with God, but literally praying to change things. So that's an awesome place to seek if you want to go deeper in that area. Meditation is literally just learning how to focus, how to get control over your thoughts. So many people are not able to focus for even 1 minute. So I do a lot of focus drills during my workouts, but also sitting still and just being in that present moment of now is so very necessary and powerful for change to happen. If you're not in this present moment of now, you're either remembering the past or, making something up about the future. We project a past experience onto a future event, and we don't even know it's coming. So we make it all up and we get ourselves into all kinds of anxieties. So, meditation can help you leave that awful habit. Cultivating relationships will decrease stress in your life. People are here as gifts, and they are the purpose for which we've been sent. If you are a Bible reader, you know that a man who isolates himself rages against all sound judgment. And that's the first thing that people do when they want to check out of life and success. They begin to live life more and more alone. So relationships are really necessary for us to grow. They are mirrors that reflect our own thoughts. And if we're smart, we will pay attention to the reflections of ourselves that we are seeing each day. If you find yourself in judgment of others all the time, turn it around and understand that you're just judging yourself for the very same thing. So that's a very deep teaching right there that I don't have time here to spend on that, but it's amazing how much judgment you might be bringing upon yourself by just not seeing other people as the mirrors that they really are. Here we go. Personal inventory. Have you taken a good look at yourself lately? So you can see yourself in the reflection of others, or you can just look right into a mirror. And I have clients that literally will start crying from this because they just don't do it enough. You are powerful, you're beautiful, but you also might be afraid. And if you are afraid, you need to see that in your eyes by looking into the mirror and seeing what's there. Are you where you want to be? When you're ready for change, you're going to ask that question. You're going to look in the mirror and you're going to say, am I where I want to be? And if I'm not, am I willing to make the needed adjustments to get to where I want to be? Because if I want to move into greater level of intimacy, I'm going to have to get honest with myself. And I'm going to have to get vulnerable. And I'm going to have to learn how to trust, how to up that trust level in my life. Stephanie came to me in radical despair. I was hesitant to even take her on as a client because I just wasn't quite sure if she was ready for the change. But sure enough, within 1 month, she was confronting the fears in her life and overcoming radically. She really needed to figure out what her lane was, who she was, why she was here, and what she had. And it was just amazing to see how quickly she stepped in to the power that she's here to know. It's been incredible. So she dropped 25 pounds, 25 pounds without really even working on it. She just kind of released it as she began to identify her feelings and express in an appropriate, healthy way. She stepped into more and more and more power. It's been amazing. You need a trusted advisor and confidant. You need a safe place to be able to get honest, to be able to identify what's going on the inside of you. This issue comes up a lot in my work because a lot of top earners and achievers and leaders and influencers are comfortable carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. But meanwhile, they're not feeling the support of other people. And the truth is, you are being supported because you wouldn't even be able to stay where you're at without support. But in order to get to that deeper level, or that higher place, the deeper your connection, the higher you can go and the further you can reach. So this is all, if you see yourself as a tree, the deeper your roots go, the further your branches reach. So the higher, you can climb. So it's just powerful to have the support and to feel the support and to be able to open up and honestly create that support in your life that will keep you in the right energy. It will keep you in action. It will keep your mind right and your heart open. So the bottom line is that we really do fear the vulnerability of intimacy. And the truth is that's an illusion as well. You are not vulnerable. You are not, when you open up, people love you. When you open up to the right people, I should say, we do need to consider our audiences, but when you have the right person in your life and you can courageously open up and begin to feel and get honest about what's going on inside, the power that you're going to step into is beyond anything you've known. FDR said it best way back in 1933. He said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and that is the truth. Fear compels us to guard against what we perceive as vulnerable. So we begin to make all of our decisions from a fear-based mindset instead of a faith-based mindset. Fear is an illusion. It's something that we make up, and it keeps us playing a small game. It keeps us from putting ourselves out there. And I know that that sounds like too, silly, but the truth is that we're really longing to be known. We're really longing for love and to love and to be loved, to be known, to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. And it takes courage to do that. But if you'll step out of the boat, you will be amazed at how simple it really is. You're not weird. You're not crazy. 7 steps to overcoming intimacy blocks. Here they are. We can't drive out all this darkness and fear with more darkness and fear. We need love. We need the power of love, and we need light. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that really matter in life, such as intimacy. So we need to open up the conversation by asking more questions. Intention. What do you really want? This is a question that you can ask yourself every day. What do you want to experience today? What kind of experience do you want to create today? How do you want to feel today? What's your intention? And secondly, are you invested in order to experience a true harmonic flow of value exchange? I mean, if you're going to be in a fulfilling relationship, there needs to be a commitment there. And a commitment is evidenced by investment. Are you invested in the relationship so that that flow of exchange, value exchange, can begin to happen? Integrity. Who are you being? And that's a beautiful question, to ask yourself daily, who am I being today? Am I being fearful? Am I being a wounded warrior? Or am I being a courageous, champion? Introspection. What am I afraid of? What am I fearing? Influence. Ask yourself what what your influence is on other people. Is it positive or negative? Do you deplete them or do you charge them up, fire them up? Impact. Are you aware of the difference you're making in the world? Are you aware of the difference that you're making in the lives of your kids, if you have kids? What impact is your relationship with your spouse having on your kids? And what impact is your relationship with your employees or your colleagues having on the rest of the company? You alone are responsible for the energy that you carry and the impact you make. And the big one, number 7, implementation. Nothing happens until something changes, right? You need to be doing something. Nothing happens till something moves or something changes. This is the biggest this is the biggest intimacy block of all. Are you doing what you said you would do? Because the truth is, intimacy requires trust. And if you haven't done what you said you would do, it's going to be really hard for you to trust other people. The bottom line is you don't trust yourself. And until you learn that you have your own back, you're not going to be able to trust somebody else to have your back. So, how is intimacy cultivated or built or developed? You can't trust others until you know and trust the voice, the power, the infinite potential that you carry. Who has your breath? Who has your heartbeat? Who has your tears and your fears? The truth is, until you know the one that's in you, until you have an experiential knowledge of the source of your supply, of your creator, of your ultimate potential, of God, you cannot trust other people, and you cannot deepen your connection with others in order to have that intimacy that you're longing for. And Mel was doing this. Mel spent years waiting for other people to give her permission to live her life. Do you do this? Do you wait for other people to give you something that you're unwilling to give yourself? Ah. Ask yourself that question. She was continually swayed by the emotions and the needs and the opinions of other people, and she felt powerless and she felt taken advantage of. She thought that there was not enough time or money or love or resources to support her. So she lived in that mentality of scarcity, that lack mentality. And so she put her vision on the back burner and she served others in order to keep, really what we know is that she was trying to keep herself from playing that bigger game that she knew she was called to. So she did end up in my academy, my High Powered Success Academy, and she up-leveled to VIP for those one-on-one sessions. And 4 months later, she was set freer than free. It's been amazing to see her absolutely, like, she broke all the chains and she's fully unleashed right now. She's joyfully serving from a place of deep connection and authentic power. She knows who she is. She knows why she's here, and she knows what she has. Her relationships are better than ever. And she's got a new book on the way, a new coaching program, and her business and life and marriage and family. All of it is just, it's just soaring. It's awesome. So what does it look like for you? What does success look like for you? What does intimacy and real glorious impact and income look like for you? What does true success look like for you? I remember how difficult it was for me to get honest about what I really wanted. You know, I kind of thought probably it was an irrelevant question. I was here to do great things and leave a legacy, but as far as like what I wanted, I hadn't spent any time on that question. So let me just give you permission, if that's you, to go deeper and understand that the deepest desire of your heart is the fire that will light you up. It will ignite not only you and your life, but it will ignite the world. You are here to set the world on fire. And when you're doing what you're wired to do, your passion and your purpose just really, truly has its way. It's just incredible. So fulfillment looks different on all of us. Success looks different on all of us, but the bottom line is that we need to honor our deepest desire in order to ignite our life. So what if you could turn the pressure into power? What if you could have a trusted confidant, an advisor to help give you that insight, that impartation, that inspiration that you need to take continual inspired action? What if you could turn all of that stress into like support and synergy in your life? What if you could literally have more impact and income through intimacy? What if intimacy could like be your path? Not just sex. When I talk about intimacy, I'm talking about honesty and connection and vulnerability and truth. It is, intimacy is powerful, and you need to cultivate it with yourself, with God, as well as with others. Would you say yes is the question. High Powered Success Academy is a 6-month group coaching program, and it does just that, to teach you how to turn pressure into power and stress into support and sacred synergy and independence into interdependence. Because we all, leaders and influencers and top earners and CEOs, we are good at being very independent. And the truth is we do need others. And so if we can move to a place of interdependence and collaboration and partnership, we are much, much more effective. Have you ever thought to yourself, if I just had all the pieces to the puzzle, I could put this thing together myself? Well, now you do. You have 3 powerfully sexy words to start turning your marriage around, and you have an action step to take daily that could help to really fire up your marriage or your primary relationship. You also have a couple mental shifts needed to regain your health and mojo. You have the secret to overcoming the things that are blocking intimacy. So now what? You've got 3 ways that you can move forward. You could take what you've learned. You could take these things and just run with them and implement what you've learned. Secondly, you could hire a coach or a mentor to ensure that that plan that you have is supported, because like I said earlier, you can make a decision to change, but if that new plan isn't supported, it's going to be highly unlikely that you're not going to get the results that you want. And then lastly, you can join a group program, and that's going to help support you as well. Just make sure that you know what you need in order to get what you want. I love this question. It's so real. Where will you be in a year if you keep doing what you're doing? It's no accident that you're on this webinar right now. I truly believe that when the student is ready to learn, the teacher appears. So ask yourself, why is intimacy or mastery a priority for me right now? Why am I here on this webinar at this point in my life? And how much is it costing me to not have what I want? How much is it costing me in peace, in personal power, in profit, in time, in money, in energy, in productivity, in performance? How much is it costing you to not have the intimacy and the mastery that you want? So you're kind of on a hot seat. I want to help you make a decision today, because limbo is torment as far as I'm concerned. Let me just say that if you're fully present to my voice right now and you're still taking notes, then your way is already being made. So you need to trust what's happening right now. Trust that it is right and it is true and it is the way of the path that you're being called to. So whether you're filled with excitement or trepidation, all progress begins with a brave decision. And the brave decision that you have to make today is to ask yourself if you're going to continue doing what you're doing and get more of the same, or change what you're doing and up-level your life. So if you're ready to lose the pressure that's keeping you stuck and feeling trapped, if you're ready to eliminate the stress that might be compromising your health and intimacy, and if you're ready to get supported and get that, that insight and that impartation and inspiration from the right other people, then schedule a VIP call with me or my team at the end of this webinar, and we can go in a little bit deeper with you and talk about what's really going on in your life. On the VIP call, you're going to get 3 things. We're going to diagnose your situation, like give you a clear picture of what's really happening in your life, and we're going to come up with a clear plan of action that you can move forward with. And then we're going to help you make a confident decision regarding your next steps, so that you will have that decision made. And it's going to be a decision that you're not going to regret. And I guarantee that if you jump on a call with one of us, the probability of you implementing more of what you learned today is way, way greater. So it's going to be well worth 30 minutes one-on-one time. That's extremely valuable when you spend that time with the right people. I guarantee my work, absolutely 100% money back guarantee for all of my programs if you show up and do the work. So I believe in the value that I deliver, but it's absolutely a partnership. And so if you do your part and I do my part, and you still feel like you didn't get what you wanted, then absolutely 100% money back guarantee. My promise to you is excellence. It's also candid, thought-provoking conversation and trusted insight, impartation, and inspiration. I am an honest truth talker, and I'm so ready to support those of you who are ready to be supported in life, intimacy, and mastery. So my expectation of you is that you remain invested in the work, open, honest, and invested. Here at stacyc.com, we are about living out the truth of who you are in order to experience the intimacy and the impact that you're designed and destined for. So ultimately, we are all about you knowing the power to be. I can tell you right now, you are not a human doing, you are a human being. And when I was back, years ago, my very first conversation with a mentor, she asked me, "Who is Stacy?" And I began to list a bunch of accomplishments and achievements. It was like my resume. And she said, "Well, it sounds to me like Stacy is a human doing instead of a human being." And I just began to cry because that was ultimately my problem. And so learning how to become who I really am has changed everything. And I am passionate about helping you to be who you really are. So I'm very, very, very excited to start working with those of you who are ready to up-level your life and enjoy a deeper level and a higher life. The deeper you go, the higher you grow. So click the link below and schedule a VIP call with me. Remember that spots are limited. Me or one of my team, I'm sorry. Spots are limited and you need to act now. This is not going to be up here tomorrow. So click the link, schedule a call with me or my team, and know that your time is short. I look forward to connecting with you on our call. Thank you again.